In this video today, I'm going to show you how to make the best version of French onion soup imaginable. Stay tuned. Okay guys, French onion soup. So what is it? It's basically caramelized onions simmered in a rich broth with a crouton topped with cheese broiled in the oven. It is a classic French bistro dish. Now, a couple tricks that you're going to need to do. Caramelized onions. What are caramelized onions? You slice the onions thin and you cook them over low heat for a very long time, and the sugars in the onion naturally caramelize and bring out the sweetness. It is a wonderful, wonderful technique. So the most important thing with caramelized onions, slice them uniformly and cook them for a long time. You don't want to caramelize onions in 20, 30, 40 minutes, okay? These onions that I did today took me 5.5 hours. Okay, 5.5 hours might seem excessive, but you can see that the color is so uniform and the flavor is so rich and complex that it just can't be achieved in an hour or 45 minutes. It really takes a long time and it takes a lot of attention to detail. You have to continuously stir, make sure that you're scraping the bottom. You don't want anything to stick, you don't want anything to burn, and you'll get that wonderful, wonderful color and wonderful flavor that is the base of your soup. Okay, so once you have those beautiful caramelized onions, you're 75% there. Okay, the French onion soup starts with the backbone of the dish, which is the broth. You want a rich, flavorful broth. Today I used a beef broth. It's basically a bone broth. There's a lot of hype over bone broth because it's so nutritious. It has all the minerals and vitamins and all that good stuff. So today I'm using beef neck bones and beef marrow bones. I'm gonna roast them until a nice dark caramelized color, and I'm gonna simmer them in water with aromatic vegetables for about 6 to 8 hours. Yep, 6 to 8 hours. This is a long and slow process. Once they're roasted, once they're simmered, I strain that broth and I cool it rapidly. So it's very important to cool your broth rapidly. If you have warm broth and you put it in your refrigerator and it takes hours and hours to cool, you might wake up the next morning or in a couple days and that broth might just be a little bit sour. You don't want it to be sour. You want it to be really flavorful and sweet and aromatic and have all those great flavors. You don't want it to go bad quickly. So cooling your broth rapidly is a trick that we use in restaurants that makes your product taste better and last longer. So after you have your caramelized onions, you have your wonderful broth. Now what we're gonna do is simmer the onions with the broth for about an hour. As you guys can see, there's a good layer of fat on top of the broth. That broth has been cooling for a day. And what you're gonna wanna do is just scrape off that fat and then salvage as much broth as you can. You worked really hard for that broth, you don't wanna throw it away. You can even save that fat if you want, but it's not necessary. You see how gelatinous that is? That is exactly what you're looking for. So that's a beautiful broth, and that's gonna have great flavor. So you're gonna warm up your onions, and you're gonna pour that broth right on top of those onions. Give it a nice little stir to make sure that nothing sticks and nothing burns, and you're gonna simmer over medium to low heat for about an hour, just like that. Okay, so let's talk about the bread and the cheese. So I'm using a French bread, a crusty bread, it's a baguette, and then I'm also using Gruyere cheese. Now, classically it's Emmental or Comté cheese. Gruyere sometimes is a little bit strong, but I love Gruyere and I'm totally fine with that. As long as it's a nice, pungent, strong, stinky cheese, I'm okay with that. Cow's milk cheese, it should be hard and it should be able to melt easily. So for your bread, you wanna slice thick, maybe 1 inch, 1.5 inch thick slices, and you want olive oil, salt, pepper, and then you just broil them quickly until there's a little bit of color on both sides. So you wanna dry them out a little bit. You add your cheese on top, and then you put them on top of the soup and you broil the whole thing together, and that cheese is gonna melt and just add wonderful flavor. There's so much umami, there's so much salty, wonderful, nutritious goodness. This is one of the best soups ever created by man, I swear. You guys have to try it, follow along, and enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more videos coming in the near future. Thank you.